Hello, my friends, and welcome to another thrilling day of online learning. Today in math, we are going to be using this question to help us guide our learning for topic 11-2. Here's our question. How can I solve multi-step word problems involving multiplication and division? So, just like always, we're going to go ahead and break apart this question. How can I solve multi-step word problems? Multi-step, what does that mean for us? That means we're going to have more than one step. This is very important because if as you're solving your questions, you're only doing one part of the problem, you know your answer is going to be wrong. So we know we're going to be looking out for a hidden question inside of our math problems as we're solving. And specifically, the kinds of problems are going to be multiplication and division. So what are some of the strategies that we use to help us solve multiplication and division problems? Well, there are a lot, so hopefully you came up with a whole list. So first of all, we could use our fact family knowledge to help us out because we know that multiplication and division are opposite of each other. We also can use equal groups. We can use bar diagrams, and we can use skip counting. There are, of course, other strategies, and if you have another strategy that works for you, awesome, use it. But today, we are going to be solving word problems with more than one step using multiplication and division. So we're going to be looking at these kinds of strategies to help us as we are solving. All right, let's go ahead and look at our first example. I'm starting us off with the harder one because I know you can handle it. Boom. A store can buy boxes of 8 calculators for $32 or boxes of 5 calculators for $30. How much less is each calculator if the store buys boxes of 8 instead of boxes of 5? Now, as I look at all this text, I'm like, oh no, how do I even solve these things? What am I supposed to do? Bang, anchor chart. So first of all, we're going to read and visualize the problem. I'm going to be picturing this problem in my head to try and understand what exactly it's talking about. So as I read and visualize, what is this problem discussing? Can buy boxes of 8 calculators for $32 or boxes of 5 calculators for $30. All right, so we're talking about a store that's buying calculators, and specifically it seems like we're trying to save some money and figure out the difference in price between boxes of 8 and boxes of 5. So as I picture this, I'm going to be thinking about stores and calculators and money. Next up, I'm going to write my answer statement. So that means I'm going to look at my question, how much less is each calculator if the store buys boxes of 8 instead of boxes of 5? Well, if I'm answering that, I will say each is blank amount. I don't know it yet, I haven't solved it, less. So I know I'm looking for how much less each box is. Next up, I'm going to write my number sentence. That's where we look at the problem, look at the context of all of the words, and we find what will help us actually solve it. So they can buy boxes of 8 calculators for $32 or boxes of 5 for $30. To help me keep that straight in my mind, I'm going to go ahead and use a bar diagram as my strategy. For my boxes of 8 calculators, it says they are $32. That is my total cost. And there are 8 calculators, so I know I'm going to be breaking it up into 8 boxes because each box has 8 calculators. There are my 8 boxes. All right, so I know there are 8 boxes and my total is 32. So 8 times something is going to equal 32. Now, up here for my 5 calculators, I see that I could also buy 5 calculators for $30. So I'm going to draw another bar diagram, but this one, my total won't be 32, my total will be 5 calculators for $30, it will be 30. So once again, that's my total cost. In each of the boxes, this will show my price for each. And over here, this will be my price for each too. And how many were there in each box for $30? Oh yeah, there were 5. So I'm going to cut this into 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I know here 5 times something equals 30. Now I have to figure out how much each of these are. Now I'm going to use my fact families to help me because I already have my multiplication facts memorized. If you don't, you can use skip counting or equal groups to help you find out these. So I know that 8 times 4 equals 32. So I know that 4 can go in each of these boxes because if each calculator costs $4, if I add up all of these, it would equal 32. And down here for this one, 5 times blank equals 30. So here I'll use skip counting to help me. So I'm going to be counting by 5s until I get to 30. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I had 6 groups, so that means each of those calculators cost $6. But I'm not finished yet, because remember, it's not one step, it's 2 steps specifically. So, but remember, my answer statement is each is blank less. So now I need to compare my price for each calculator in my box of 8 and boxes of 5. Now this how much less gives me a clue about the operation. Whenever I'm comparing 2 numbers, I'm finding the difference between them. And if I'm finding the difference, what operation should I be using? Subtraction. So I'm going to look at my cost for each here, $4, and my cost for each here, $6. And I'm going to compare them. I'm going to find the difference. So this is that final part, chunk and solve. So we already chunked the first half, and now we're going to be chunking our second half. So if I'm comparing these 2 numbers, that would just be 6 minus 4 equals what? If you don't know, you can always count up, but hopefully you knew that this one is $2. So my answer here, how much less is each calculator if they buy boxes of 8? Each is $2 less. And now let's go ahead and look at our second problem. All right, so once again, we're going to be following the same exact steps that we just did. We're going to read and visualize the problem. We're going to focus on the answer, knowing what it's asking us about. Then we're going to write number sentences that help us solve, and then we're going to do it. We're going to solve it. So there are 6 pounds of pecans are shared equally between 2 friends. Each pound has 60 pecans. How many pecans does each friend get? All right, I'm going to visualize my problem. So what was this talking about? Okay, we're talking about pecans. Pecans are a type of nut that you can eat. So we're talking about 2 friends who are sharing a bunch of food. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write my answer statement. What would answer this? How many pecans would each friend get? Each friend gets blank pecans. So now I know that I'm looking for how many pecans each friend gets. So I see that word each there. That gives me a clue about my operation. I know that each, if I'm taking a big number and I'm turning it into each, I know that that is going to be a division problem. So I know division is going to be in here somewhere. But let's go ahead now and look to find our numbers to help us write our number sentence. So in this, there are 6 pounds of pecans when they say that it's shared equally. I know that if I'm sharing, that's going to mean that I'm going to be dividing. So I'm sharing equally between 2 friends. So there are 6 pounds for the 2 friends. Each pound has 60 pecans. How many does each friend get? So the first thing I can do is figure out how many pecans there are in all. So I'm going to take my 60 pecans and multiply that by each pound because it says each pound is 60. So that means I can make up a number sentence of 60 times 6 equals my total amount of pecans. So here are my pecans per pound. This is how many pounds. So I'm going to use our multiples of 10 tricks that we were just doing in topic 10. So here I've got 60 times 6. I'm just going to do 6 times 6 and then slap on that 0. So I know 6 times 6 is 36, and then I can slap my 0 onto the end. So I know that there are 360 pecans total. But if I go back to my answer statement, I wasn't looking for how many pecans there are total. I was looking for how many each friend gets. So here they told me that the pecans were shared equally between my two friends. So that means I'm going to have two friends to split this up. So that would be 360 divided by 2. So now I'm going to take and do some equal groups. Now, let's be real, friends. I am not about to count to 360 because not only would I probably lose count, all of my dots will blur together. That same thing that we did with the 0, I'm going to do again. So I'm just going to count to 36, and then I'm going to slap a 0 onto the end if it works. All right, so let's see what 36 divided by 2 is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now I've got 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Boom, I got to 36, so I'm going to stop. Now I'm going to count and see, so each of my circles is the friends, and here are how many pecans they're getting. So now I can count 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I know that 36 divided by 2 is 18, and I'm going to slap that 0 onto the end. So I know 360 divided by 2 equals 180. So that means each friend gets 180 pecans.